We are in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Sannyasa Karma Yoga. And we are in the crucial verse, which is the verse 18th. And let's have a look at that verse again. Karmanya karmaye pashyet akarmani cha karma yaha sa buddhiman manusyesu sa yukta krishna karma krut. Those who see action in inaction and inaction in action are truly wise amongst humans. Although performing all kinds of actions, they are yogis and masters of all the. So we had discussed that 18th verse, the most crucial verse not only of the chapter 4, but of entire Bhagavad Gita. And from 19 to 24th verse, these verses from 19 to 24 are the explanations of this verse 18. Why it is so important? Because the Lord is trying to tell us, or He is examining the nature of karma, action, and where from it arises and whom it belongs to. So basically, He is trying to find out about action. That is the basic intention. But in the process, what Lord is doing here, He is bringing into focus the difference between Atman and Anatma part of our each individual self, which is the basic teaching of the Vedas, Vedanta, and Upanishads. So this verse is crucial. And so beautifully, he is integrating that knowledge into action. That means in day-to-day life, because we have seen from the verse chapter 3 and so far that any living creature cannot live without action. So action is a must. Then the teaching of the scriptures is that we have two aspects to our personality or to our nature. One is our higher nature, which is otherwise called Atman, and another called lower nature, which is called Anatma or Ahankara. This Atma principle has already been discussed elaborately in chapter 2. And there we had seen the principle if we see, the basic principle if we look at it and see how chapter 2 has dealt with it. First thing we have to understand that consciousness is not a part, product, or property of the body, mind, intellect, or ahankara. And it is an independent principle which enlivens this body, mind, intellect. It makes it sentient. Then it is not limited by the boundaries of our body, because we have seen so many times in our meditation that our awareness is all pervading. So this is not limited to the boundaries of our body. And then the last was that even when the body is not there, it disintegrates, then consciousness continue to exist. The best example is like the bulb and electricity. So what he's saying here, that consciousness is not a part, product, or property of the bulb. Similarly, electricity is not part of the bulb, not a product of the bulb, nor a property of the bulb. Clear? Then it is an independent principle that enlivens the body. So electricity is an independent entity, if we can call it. So it enlivens the bulb. So the bulb lights up in the presence of electricity. Then he's saying it is not limited to the boundaries of the body. That means electricity is not limited to the bulb only. If there is second bulb is there, there is AC is there, the mic is there, our laptop is there, everything is powered by electricity. So it is not limited to that particular bulb. And when there are two bulbs are there, in between also electricity continues. Similarly, in between this sentient beings, the consciousness principle also exists. It's not limited to the boundaries of the body. Then, even when the body disintegrates, consciousness continues. That means even when the tungsten filament in the bulb is damaged, it doesn't light up. It doesn't give any more light, but electricity continues. Is it very clear now? So one is consciousness, one is ahankara. And what is this ahankara? Ahankara is that I principle which is identifying himself with the mind. So what is happening here? So when the filament is damaged, the electricity continues. Similarly, when our body mind, when our body dies, then what happens? The bulb is there, the filament is damaged. Similarly, the body is there, which is lying, which is going to be cremated. So it is lying. But what has happened? That ahankara, that mind has traveled out of this body. That filament is damaged. That means mind is gone now here. And mind has that ability. That tungsten filament had the ability to reflect the electricity. The electricity is there. The bulb is there, but it's no more lighting up. Similarly, the physical body is lying. The consciousness, all-pervading consciousness is there. But the body is dead. Why? Because ahankara, that mind, has traveled. He will seek another body and take another life. So this Atman principle, that consciousness principle, is our real self. That is what scriptures are telling us. And this ahankara, the mind principle, is our lower self. So why the difference is there? Because mind is matter. We had seen mind is a subtle matter, like body is also matter, but body is made out of the gross elements of the 5 elements. That is earth, water, fire, air, and space. Similarly, mind is made of the subtle nature of the 5 elements. And this mind always feels that he is the doer of things. We'll come back to here. Now, if we go back to the second chapter, you will care to remember from the 12th verse to 25th verse, Lord has told us about this nature of this Atman. So what was that nature he had said? He said is ekam, is all pervading, is nityam. It was there, it is now, it will be there. Is nityam, is nirguna. There is no qualities of it. Like electricity doesn't have the quality that it's brighter or smaller or is there is no nirguna it is. Then nirbhikara, there is no change in it. Then another was aprameya, you cannot know it. And then there was an akarta and abhakta. It doesn't do any action, nor it enjoys the results of those actions. And in this particular 18th verse, what Lord is talking about, one aspect of that as akarta and abhakta. Because Lord is talking about karma, and when you are discussing about karma, Then comes the who is the doer of action and who is the enjoyer or the sufferer of those results of those actions. So now here, what the Lord is saying, while the Atman principle, the Atma is ever present, because it is all pervading, there is no movement. It is still. But matter is always in action. Even when we are looking at the wall, it looks stationary. But when you go to each atom of that wall, then you will find that electrons are there, protons are there, neutrons are there, and electrons are going around the neutrons. So that means that is a violent action is going on. Similarly, just imagine we had seen last time the Earth itself is going around its own orbit. And also Earth is going around the Sun itself. And we had seen that what is the speed of Earth going around its axis and going around the Sun. What was who remembers it? You have forgotten, all of you.
67,000 miles per hour.
67,000 miles per, just imagine 67,000 miles per hour this Earth is going around the Sun. Can you imagine what violently the matter is moving? But the consciousness principle, like electricity, is still. So that means action needs movement. If action needs movement and we find that consciousness being all pervading cannot move, because if the glass is full, a bottle is full, there will be no movement of the liquid inside. Similarly, when the consciousness is all pervading, there is no movement of the consciousness. That means that it cannot be ever any action carried out by the consciousness principle. So where is the origin of action? Origin of action is in anatma, that is in ahankara, that is in matter, because it's always violently moving by itself. Even when it appears to be unmoving, it is moving. And this movement of matter results in action. So that means action originates from matter, action originates from ahankara. What is the nature of action? Action is movement. And whom it belongs to? It belongs to ahankara. It doesn't belong to our real nature or the higher nature, which is atmas. And why also this ahankara moves? Because one is its basic nature. It moves. Because we have seen the matter is also made of sattva and rajas and tamas qualities. And that itself, in that all this tamas, this quality is also alternate. They go on moving. Another aspect of the ahankara is that ahankara always feels that is incomplete because it's finite in nature. So always it feels that I need these things of this world, I need this person, I need these activities so that I will feel complete. I need this house, I need this vehicle, I need this position, I need this money, I need this spouse, I need my children, I need my society. It's always because it's finite, it needs something to feel itself complete. And why that feeling of incompleteness is there? Because our real nature is Atman principle, that the higher self is always full, because it's all pervading, it's eternal. It was there yesterday, it is there today, and tomorrow it will be there. It is all pervading. If that is our real nature, and when we are identifying ourselves with this body, mind, intellect, which is limited in time and space, it has a date of birth, it will have a date of death, and it is always changing and is limited. Then what happens? We feel suffocated. So that's why we are looking for things from this outside world which will make me feel complete. So the ahankara is finite. Whatever achievements we will be bringing forth from this outside world is also finite. So finite plus finite only can be finite. Finite plus finite will never be infinite. Even when you have all the riches of Elon Musk, still there will be desire for more because it's still finite. To have that infinitude is an inherent quality of this ahankara. He's just looking for feel itself complete. And that's why it is always engaged in actions. And when you get engaged in action, and then why the desire is there, I want to feel complete. But what is the chances that whatever I desire, I'm going to get it? If I'm getting it, I'm happy. If I don't get it, I'm unhappy. So what is happening? Because of this nature, very nature of ahankara, that it feels incomplete. And then it feels that by gaining something from this outside world, I will be able to feel completeness. So there is an inherent drive towards action. And this actions results in karma phala, which is coming otherwise income, papas and punyas. Papa means you will get disappointed. And not only it with the action itself is finished, one particular action, what is happening, that result of that action, it may fructify in this life, or you have to enjoy or suffer for it in the next life. One. Second, whatever actions you get involved, that leaves an impression on your ahankara also. And the chitta, that is also carried forward to our next life. So imagine it, every action is preceded by thought and words. And every thought, words, and actions not only leave a result, also give us an impression, which is also is determining our response to things in the next life or in this life itself. So what is happening? We are now bound like a bird in a cage. So we are now in a cage of karma. It's just tossing us around in it, and we are bound in it, and we are even if you open it, the guru is saying now it is open, you fly out. We are unable to fly out because we feel that no, let me first feel complete. I'm still struggling inside to make myself complete. And the scripture says on the top of the roof, and the guru says from the deep heart that it's an impossible task you are engaged in. Finite plus finite is always finite, is not going to be infinite. So it is ahankara who gets engaged in actions. So it is ahankara who is karta, and is the ahankara is the bhokta. Then what the scripture is saying, now you shift your identity. So how I get out of this phase of action? How I get out of this cycle of papam and punya? The only way The scripture is saying only when you recognize your higher nature, own up to your higher nature, then only you will be able to get out of the cycle of karta and bhokta. But what happens? That means if I get realized, if somebody one gets realized, that means he will not be engaged in actions. Yes, ahankara will continue, action will continue, but it's a functional nature only. Because I have a body, I have to eat, take food. So whatever action I necessary, that is done. There is a society, there is some actions will be involved, so that I will perform. So we will have a functional ahankara will continue. Like you have a vehicle to take you from one place to another. Similarly, you have a body, mind, and intellect. That vehicle is given, God will give us. So that we have to use it as a vehicle. But it is not me. My real nature, which is Atman principle, which is consciousness principle, can never act, can never be a karta, can never be vokta. This shifting of identity is called wisdom. And this is what is necessary. So here, so we had seen the first line of this verse. Let me share again with you. So, karmanya akarma, he sees action in inaction. That means who is engaged in action? Ahankara is engaged in action. When you are looking at your Atman principle, the higher nature, then you see there is no action. Because he is not doing anything. Electricity is not engaged in any action. Action is only by the bulb. Action is only by the ahankara body mind. Action is not at the higher level. So in the actions, karmanya, he sees akarmana. He sees inaction. Then he's saying pasyat akarmani chakarma. When the body is engaged in actions, he sees akarmana. There is no action there. Then he's saying sab buddhiman manusyesu. Sab buddhiman. So this person he is a buddhiman. That means what has happened? He has detached himself from ahankara. He has owned up his higher nature. Now his ahankara is not now no more wagging its tail. Now you know that when people are taking the dog, so sometimes the dog is actually the dog is going ahead and he's pulling the man. So the man is taking the dog or the dog is taking the man. So similarly, whether the ahankara is pulling up me or I am pulling the ahankara. When you are a realized person, ahankara is actually you are leading it. You want to get engaged in actions, so you are utilizing ahankara. It is only utility value. It is a functional nature, but it is not my real nature. My real nature is my higher nature, which is Satchidan Ananda Swarupa. So that is the so that's why he's saying Sa Buddhiman, because he understands it, he realizes it, and he shifts it. Not only he realizes it, not only he has learnt about it, not only he has heard about it, but he has been able to shift his identity from the lower I, from the ahankara to his higher self, which is Satchidan Ananda Swarupa. Then he saying Sayuktaha. Sayukta means he is united. United with what? United with his higher nature. Sayuktaha. That means he is now a Swami. That's why we call it Swami. Swami means he is the master of his ahankara. He is a Swami. That's why he is called Swami means a Lord. Why it is called a Lord? Because he is the Lord of his Ankara, lower self. That's why whenever Swami, the word is coming, you will find at the end of the name is Ananda. Even Guruji's Swami Pragyanananda, Swami Hariharananda, any Swami you will find, the name he always ends with Ananda. Have you noticed or you have not noticed? All of us you have noticed. Okay. So why? Because why? Because he is a Swami. That means he is the Lord. Lord of what? Lord of Ankara. He is not a slave of the Ankara. A normal person, ordinary person, is a slave of Ankara. That means the dog is now pulling the owner. See, he is a Aswami or Asami. Asami means, so if his Swami ends with Ananda, a Asami ends with Dukkham. We are not writing Dukkham because in our face itself is visible. So we don't have to write. For a Swami, it is written Swami so and so Ananda. So why is Yukta? Sa Buddhiman, he understands the difference between his higher nature and lower nature. Sa Yukta. Not only he knows, he is adopted it. He has owned up his higher nature. He is utilizing his ahankara and he is the master of his lower self. So that's why he saw Yukta. Saw Krishna Karmakrut. Krishna Karmakrut means he is the person of all accomplishment. See, sometimes Krishna Karmakriti you will also find actions also and accomplishments also. It is actually a figurative term. Why it is a figurative term? Who is one side we are saying that our higher self is not engaged in actions. That means here Lord is saying he is Krishna Karmakut. That means he is the master of all actions. When we are saying he doesn't get involved in actions, why the Lord is here saying that he is the master of all actions? That means his master means actions belongs to him. So here he is meaning that means why one gets into action. Why he gets into action? He gets into actions because he feels he's incomplete. To overcome that sense of incompleteness, he gets into action. He wants the things of this world. He wants some persons, a relationship with people. He wants certain events to be happen so that he will feel complete. And when he gets that, then he had the satisfaction that I am get complete. I want rasgulla, I wanted coffee, I got it, I am happy. It's accomplished. So here, what is happening when you are identifying it yourself with your higher self, even because that itself is a state of completeness, because you are all pervading eternal. So there is no such incomplete, the sense of incompleteness for a realized person. So for him, this Ananda, whatever he is getting, is coming out of its completeness. It doesn't depend on things of this world. It is in his inherent nature. He has got into that tap which is inside him. But for a ahankara identified person, like an ordinary person, when he identifies himself with the ahankara, he has always a sense of incompleteness. Because why? Because he has a desire that which or the wish that what will make him feel complete. And then that it becomes an ideal for him. And whatever he accomplishes, that is actual. Like Pluto, the famous Greek philosopher, he said, actual can never be the ideal. Why? Just just look at our own selves. Then when we were in the school, maybe we had some concept of what sort of a job I should be having. Then when you go to the college, it has changed because you know a lot of other things. So now your concept of what is an ideal job have changed. And then when you come out after your graduation or post graduation or a PhD, then now you are in the job market. So your concept of your ideal job is also now completely changed. And this, whatever is the ideal of an ideal job, idea of an ideal, or you can say like spouse or ideal children, anything ideal is always something is dynamic concept. It is not fixed because of our ahankara is always on the move. Always he thinks it is a dynamic. His thinking is dynamic. It's always changing. So your ideal of an ideal job always evolving. It's not fixed. So whenever any job you will get, you are always in the position of catching up. Because the moment you join, you said, okay, this investment banking job is the ideal job. The moment you land up there, then you find out, oh no. It is the lower level. I should be coming at the higher level. So I should be, as a like boss. So people will work for him. I will only take decisions. Once you are there, then you think, oh, why I'm managing the assets, the wealth of people. Why I cannot have this wealth myself? If Elon Musk can have it, Mukesh Ambani can have it, I can also have it. So your ideal of an ideal individual or ideal, professional or ideal spouse, anything, it's a dynamic process. It always evolves. So actual can never be ideal. And that sometimes is the driving force. That's why you will find they said if there is no want, there can be a situation. That means there is no want, there is no drive for me to get into actions. That means if everybody is self realized, everybody feels satisfied, then what is the driving force behind that person to act? And everybody retires to Himalayas. So, how the society will survive? So, that how he will get involved, why he will get involved, that is coming in the next verse. So I'm not going into that. But here, what we can see is that this person, the realized person, is not affected by the surroundings. He controls the surroundings. It is like called thermometer and thermostat. What is the difference between a thermometer and thermostat? Engineer Deepak Baba, what is the
Thermometer.
difference?
Baba, thermometer goes up and down as an
Huh,
action. Thermostat is just showing that reading.
yes, correct. Thermometer is influenced by the surroundings. If the surrounding is hot, the mercury level goes up. If it is cool, it goes down. So it is controlled by these surroundings. But what is thermostat? thermostat controls his surrounding. It will not go high in power or low in power. It controls the surrounding. So a ahankara is like a thermometer. It's influenced by his surroundings. It makes it feel happy or unhappy depending on my circumstances, my surrounding, what I have in this earth, what assets I have, what money I have, what possessions I have, what relationships I have, what is my accomplishment. That means everything outside the world that is controlling my happiness. So I am like a thermometer, dependent on the surroundings. But a self-realized person who has shifted his identity from ahankara to Atman principle, his higher nature, he is like a thermostat. Not only he controls himself, he controls the surrounding. So now the choice is with us whether we want to be a thermometer or thermostat. And that happens only when we make conscious effort in shifting our identity from the lower I to the higher I. So in the 18th verse, Lord is saying that your lower nature is always in action. So even when the person is sleeping in deep sleep, so you can say he's an ahankara, he's sleeping. So is there any action? Action there is in the potential form. The moment you get up, your mind again picks up the threads again. It is not a clean, it is not cleaned. You don't start from a clean slate. So even when it appears to be non-action, inaction is there. That means in deep sleep, there also itself also in potential form, it is there. It's bursting with potentiality. The moment you get up, everything comes back. So lower self is ever in action, but higher self is never in action. So action belongs to the lower self. So who is the karta and bhokta? Is ahankara. Then what happens when he becomes a realized person and when he is utilizing the ahankara, he is not identified with ahankara, he is utilizing ahankara, like Guruji and all. So what happens to the karma phala? Tell me, all of you know. What happens to his karma phala?
The Sanchita karma burns down. And
Sanchita karma, but now whatever I am using my ahankara to get into action.
he does not acquire any
It's for
agami karma, but the prarabdha
What is that called?
agami kare.
Agami, correct. So that means whatever actions now I am doing it because I do not identify myself with the ahankara. I am utilizing ahankara as an instrument. So there is no karma phala. That means agami, even when he is engaged in actions, there is no agami. And whatever has also done, what has happened, this is what doesn't happen. But whatever has happened also earlier, which Deepak Baba said, that all our Sanchita karma also wiped clean. No more births after death. But what happens for this birth? Whatever the ahankara is there, because you have come for this life to neutralize certain of the karma phalas, that is called prarabdha. So as long as your body mind will continue, as long as your prarabdha continues. The moment prarabdha is finished, your physical body goes out of circulation, is otherwise called is gets its death or destroyed, is gone out of circulation, then what will happen? Your Sanchita karma has gone. Whatever actions you have done in this life, there is no Agami karma. So your slate of karma phala is clean. So there is no more lives for us. So that's why you will find this 18th verse. That's why he said, what he said the last? He said, "O buddhiman manusyesu." He is the wise amongst persons. And then sayuktaha. So he is now own up his own self. So he is, with whatever knowledge he has now, he is acquired. Now he has shifted his identity. He is living his knowledge. He's walking the talk, the otherwise what we call it. So now saw yuktaha. So he is living his teaching. Then saw Krishna karma krut, because he doesn't need anything, because he is ever full. That's why, in a figurative term, the Lord is using that he is the doer of all actions. Because all the results now he has got, that means if all the results are done, means he is the happiest person on earth or in the creation, that means he has accomplished a lot of things. Yes, Anjuma, you have raised your hand. Tell me.
Baba, you said in deep sleep, action is in potential form.
Yes.
What about in meditation? That is still in potential form, or since we are
Because
aware?
in meditation, what is happening? You are established in your true self. That's what we saw in Sutra 3. He said, Tadadrastu Swarupe Avasthana. But then your ahankara continues. The moment we get out of meditation, we will fall back into ahankara. But when once we go to Nirbikapaka Samadhi, that means we are totally established there. Then that is like I know now swimming. So when I look at the swimming pool, I don't feel fear. So similarly, when you come back after Nirbikapa Samadhi and you are using your ahankara to get engaged in actions, so you know in and through that I am not this, it's an instrument I am using. So in case of if we are going into meditation, if you have achieved the ultimate, that Nirbikapa Samadhi stage, that means it is like self-realized. You know now your true nature. Once you know that, you will not again come back to using this ahankara as yourself. You will use ahankara as an instrument. But if we, like us, we go briefly without even, understanding where we are, we come back. So that means that ahankara identification continues. So our karma first continues with us. Where agami karma also will continue to haunt us. Is it clear?
Thank you.
Ma?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you.
Okay, so this is what saying saw Krishna karma krut. So now we'll again look at this verse just last time, then we'll go to the next verse. Karmanya karmaye pasyet, karmanya akarmaya pasyet. That means in the actions he is in action, with wise man. And pasyet karmani akarmani akarmaya. And he is seeing non-action in action. Then he is a buddhiman, so he is a wise person. He has understood what the scriptures and his guru is saying. Sayuktaha, now he's owning of his own higher self, and Sa Krishna Karmakut. So he is the doer or enjoyer of all the actions. So even if when he is not engaged in actions, he is utilizing his ahankara in actions, but whether there is action, whether there is inaction, He is ever the full. So this is a beautiful verse, and this 18th verse is very important, not only in this chapter, in entire Bhagavad Gita, because here the entire Upanishadic knowledge is given here. Here, but mark here, here we differentiated between consciousness and matter. That means I am consciousness, and whatever I perceive is matter. That is samsara. We had seen this. So this is there. Now when we will go through others 19 to 24, then when we come to the 24th verse, there the Lord will integrate the whole thing. He said, even that's whatever you are perceiving, you are the consciousness principle. Whatever you are seeing, what you are now telling as matter, which is different from you, then he integrates at verse 24. He says, there is nothing except you. That is Advaita. Because now it is still Dvaita. Dvaita means two. I am consciousness, and whatever I perceive is the world. Is something different from me. That's what we learned. That I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not this intellect. What I am Satchidanam, Satyam Jnanam Anantam is my higher nature, and that is me. That means there are two things are there. My higher nature, consciousness principle, and my body, mind, intellect, and the whole world, which is anatma, which is matter. So consciousness, matter, there are two things. So it is not Advaita. And we'll see in the verse 24 how Lord will integrate. There is no second thing in this world except you. Then you said, what happened? Now we are studied so hard, try to understand that I am consciousness and everything else is matter. Now in the 24th verse, when we go, we will see how what Lord is talking about. Let's go to the verse 19. Yasya sarve samarambah kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni datta karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. The enlightened sages call those persons wise whose every action is free from the desire for material pleasures and who have burnt the reactions of work in the fire of divine knowledge. So he's saying here, what Lord is talking about in this particular verse is, if once a jnani has attained his jnanam, will there be a motive for him to get engaged in action? What is the driving force then for a jnani to get engaged in action? Because what we have so far discussed, that activities arise out of a desire or out of dissatisfaction. This desire is coming. Then I am looking into this world. I want this relationship, I want this event. So that means Ajnana Kama Karma. Adi Shankara beautifully said, Ajnana Kama Karma. Ajnana means ignorance. Ignorance of about what? Ignorance of my true nature. And Ajnana leads to karma. Because I do not know my true nature, I identify myself with this ahankara, then I have desire. That's why I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. This kama, desire, comes out of ajnana. And this desire, kama, leads to karma. So Adi Shankara beautifully said, ajnana kama karma. Ajnana will lead to desire, and desire will lead us to karma or action. That means people are working. Why? Because they want to accomplish things because they are dissatisfied. they feel incomplete. And then from there, the term is you will find what we say necessity is the mother of all inventions. That means everything has been achieved because there is a necessity. That means there is a want. So in this verse, Lord is saying, if people are satisfied, it is for a contained, then why they will be, what is the driving force behind their actions? What motivates them to get into action? Why? So now, what Lord is saying here, the true desire for action actually comes from contentment. Like a mother, whatever she does for the child, does she want anything? Her happiness is the happiness of the child. Whatever the child wants, she does it. She does it not even deliberately, it instinctively. She does it. Why? Because she is full of compassion. Similarly, a realized person, he doesn't see any difference between him and any other person, so he has full of compassion. So when he sees things which needs action for the benefit of others, he gets into action even without a desire for action. He just instinctively does it, like a mother takes care of the need of the child instinctively. It's not a deliberate action, just instinctively. She doesn't have to think, oh, it's my child, I have to do this. Just does it. Similarly, a person, a realized person, out of contentment, out of his wisdom, so he gets into action. That is an universal compassion is there. So that's why we had seen in the third chapter and all, the person, a realized person, get into action because of loka sangraha, for the benefits of the people of this world. That is the reason behind a realized person getting engaged in actions. So, so depending on the need of the society and the circumstances, he gets into action. And it is because it is for the benefit of others, he doesn't have an axe to grind. He doesn't want to fulfilled because of those actions. So his perception of the work is different, is an instrument he is using, ahankara, getting into action. So he becomes an akarta. He's not the doer of action. Because he is not a doer of actions, he is an akarta. So he is abhokta also. So he is not the enjoyer of the fruits of those actions. So he is beyond that. So what this verse is saying? Yasya sarve samarambha. So yasya, asya means like this. So whose actions? Sarve samarambha. Whatever the actions he is now taking it, Sarve Samarambha, undertaking actions. So whatever he is now taking actions, Kama Sankalpa Varjita. So what is the attitude? Kama Sankalpa Varjita. Varjita means he is devoid of Kama Sankalpa, that I have to do. Because any actions we do, that is a Sankalpa. Sankalpa means why I am getting this action. So when we do the puja, we always say Mamopata Samasta Durita Kshayadvara. Who knows? Who knows how to do Sankalpa? Anybody? Hmm? Who does puja? You know how? What is the Sankalpa wording here, Deepak Baba? Hmm.
But sankalp for any active, for the sankalp for the puja that we take by holding his hands like Baba.
Yeah, any actions we do because we have a desire to fulfill. That desire is like a sankalpa. I am going to do this, I will get it. So in the case of a puja, when we do the puja, So what do we say? That I am doing it. Sometimes we say mamopata, means mamopata samasta durita chadara, Srimad Narayana and all, pityartham. Pityartham means for your, to please you, I am doing this. Or you can say that I want, moksha, I want moksha, so because of that, I am doing this puja. Or I want this promotion, I am doing it. Because that Purohit, he does it. Or if you are doing it, you have to do it. I wanted to do this. That is called sankalpa. So every sankalpa you do, behind an action, you do that because that is your desire. So you are saying, I am getting into actions, I want this result. That is sankalpa. So here he is saying, he is kama sankalpa varjitaha. So he is not identified. He is not taking ownership of those actions. That's why kama sankalpa varjita. So he is not taking. Then what happens? Jnanagni dabdha karmanam. And so because he is not, has no sankalpa, he is not, doesn't take ownership of those actions. So those actions, what happened? The result of those actions? He's saying Jnanagni Dagdha Karmana. That means those karma phalas are Dagdha. Dagdha means they have burnt. Burnt in Jnanagni. So it is like a seed, and that seed now has been burnt. So it tastes nice, it looks same like any other seed, it tastes nice, everything is there, but then it cannot germinate. That means those result of those actions has no fruit bearing capacity. That means they will not load you with the baggage. Then they have been fried in what fire? Not this ordinary fire, Jnanagni, in the fire of knowledge. What? Which fire? Fire of knowledge means what knowledge? Atma Jnanam. Not about the physics, not about the chemistry, about the Atma Jnanam, the knowledge about our true self. In that knowledge, these karma phalas has been as if they have been burnt. So that means there is no agami karma. Jnanagni dagda karmanam tamahu. Tam means so him, that person, whoever is engaged in ahuhu. So he is called tamahu. He is called pandita. He is called a pandita. Pandita here is so Panda and iti. Panda means the self knowledge. Iti means he has it. He has accomplished it. So he is called Panda. So, and he, who is telling him that Pandita? He is called a Pandita. Who is calling him a Pandita? Because he has got Atma Jnanam, that's why he is called a Panda. And Ita, that means he has it. So that's why he is called Pandita. And who is saying? Buddha. That means the wise persons. Only a wise person can only call such person as a Pandita. Because if you are going to select a candidate for say Nobel laureate in physics, you cannot take a music director to judge. You need physicist. Then they can understand whatever this new thing this particular person has brought in. So that's why you will be able to judge it properly. So similarly here, this person who is kama sankalpa varjita, he has given up the actions for any particular reason, for his own selfish desires. So if he is devoid of that, and he is karma phalas has been burnt in the Atma Jnanam, they are called Pandita by who? This Buddha, these wise people. These are the people who have also accomplished this self-knowledge. So they are realized persons, realized masters. They only call them Panditaha. Like we have the Paramahansa. When Gurudev gave the title of Paramahansa to Guruji, that means it was acknowledged that he is a realized person. So who gave? A Paramahansa gave. But who gave Guruji, Gurudev his Paramahansa title? Anybody want to say? Who knows? Who gave Paramahansa title to
Sadhu,
Gurudev?
Sadhu Samaj.
Yes, sorry.
Sadhu Samaj, when in Karar Ashram, they all sat with the Sadhu Samaj.
Anybody else?
Gurudev has given.
Huh?
Gurudev had given Paramahansa title to Guruji.
Who gave? Gurudev himself told?
Yeah, he
Somebody
called.
has to give. Because
Yeah, he called over phone, no? That when Guruji in America.
That is Guruji. Gurudev gave it to Guruji.
Yeah, that is the thing.
But who gave Gurudev? Question is who gave Gurudev the title of Paramahansa?
Baba Shankaracharya ji?
Shankaracharya ji gave
Monk.
monkhood.
It was Sadhu Samaj, Baba. When Karar
Sadhu
Ashram,
Samaj led by Shankaracharya.
yeah,
But Sadhu
that they
Samaj
gave,
gave.
yeah.
That Paramahansa title was given. Not by his Guru. So similarly, so here that's what the Lord is saying here. So Tamahu, he is called Panditaha because he has got self-knowledge. And who calls him a Pandita? By Buddha, the wise people. Okay? Anything?
Baba,
Any of
can
you
I
want?
ask you one thing?
Yes, ma.
Baba, this in Jagannath temple, people are called Panda. What is the difference between Panda and Pandit?
Their Panda is their priests. They do the puja. They are not Panditaha. They are not. They don't have self-knowledge, but they are the priests. Panda. That Panda is that is for not for those who are again Pandita. Sometimes we call na. You remember? Sometimes we say that he is a Pandita. Pandita means he has that knowledge, self-knowledge. But Panda is a priest in Jagannath temple. Yes. Anybody else want to share something? Ashok Baba, Jagatpal ji, Shweta ji, Bhavna ji, Anju ji, Suktima is there, Sipal is there, Nehama is there.